Do you find it difficult to focus on your customers and even your own employees as you're juggling numerous vendors? Do you have more meetings with vendors than you can count? And do their reports filled with technical jargon make you feel clueless and frustrated? Such is the story of Nathan. Being at a car dealership, he's concerned about his store's digital marketing presence and invests most of his time dealing with vendors to promote his business and gain more sales and market share. Nathan is busy handling reports and reviewing them, not knowing what is happening on the advertising front and about his true ROI. Poor Nathan is worried but can't figure out a solution until he found BZ Consultants Group. BZ Consultants stepped in and was able to take the digital marketing vendor burden off Nathan's plate, giving him peace of mind that the best interest of the dealer was always top of mind. Being an unbiased third party, BZ Consultants always made sure to relay the reports in easy, relatable, and actionable ways so that Nathan could best utilize the data. Now, Nathan can focus on what he really wanted, the customer experience and growth. By being your digital marketing business partner, BZ Consultants Group will remove the hassle of trying to hold your vendors accountable and increase your productivity with the time you will now have armed with true data. Together, we make it possible because your success is our goal.
Welcome into the Furniss Fast Lane. It is Friday, Durran. We have made it. It was a little touch and go this week. Like, not a little, it was a lot of touch and go this week. But we made it to Friday, Durran. We have made it to Friday. How are you doing, sir?
We made it. We're here. So I feel the same way. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, as some will say. So yes.
Yes. Yeah. And it was, yes. I really, at one point, Larry got the phone call yesterday. I think it was yesterday, Larry. And I just go, I'm not sure I'm going to make it through the rest of this week. Like, it has been a hell of a week. Like, so, Larry goes and cheers you up. So Larry, thank you for that. And also, before we go any further, Larry, I just want to shout it again. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't know this amazing person right next to me. So just thank you so much for your incredible network and officially introducing Durran and I, because my life is definitely better from having Durran in it. So thank you so much for that, Larry.
Amen. Thank you, Larry.
Yes. As Peter is also saying Friday, and I, last week I blamed it on the solar eclipse. I was like, okay, people have lost their minds. It's got to be the solar eclipse. This week, I don't know what it is. I mean, I was getting text messages like 6 o'clock in the morning from people freaking out. And then it would go until like 10 o'clock. I'm like, what? At the end of the day, guys, we're in marketing. We're in auto. We're not curing cancer. We're not doing heart surgery. It's important. No one's going to die.
Right.
Man, I don't know if you've had that same experience this the last couple of weeks.
Yes. No, it's kind of like you got to manage the distractions, because even with that eclipse, one thing that you could see, look at how many posts there were about the eclipse. Like, I think the whole algorithm, everything got turned. And so you think about, and not trying to get on the employees, but even if you think about the employee productivity, like, I feel like the dealers almost lost a half a day on eclipse day, and that distraction hurts. And so what we can learn from it the next time we know something like that's coming, if there's that much attention, that's a good marketing play right there. So use that. If you're a salesperson or a dealership, use that energy and that news and turn it into a greater good. Because I think it'd be another 4 or 5 years, I think, for the next one or whenever it is. But I think we all need to play into it a little bit.
Agreed. I don't know if you saw it. I had to laugh at this because before I got in the automotive industry, my background is the medical field. And I know what happens, like, especially having a corneal transplant. Like, I don't walk outside unless I've got sunglasses on. Like, it's so important. If you stare at the sun for a second, you're going to have a permanent black dot in your vision that's just there forever. So it was either the day of, right after the eclipse, the day after, the number one search term was, why do my eyes hurt? Like, how dumb are people? So a little humor to your day here. That was a trending topic and saw like the massive increase of why do my eyes hurt? Well, idiot, you looked at the sun. That's why. Oh,
yes.
Gosh. So many memes are going through my head right now, Durran.
Yes. The paper glasses with the tinted frames.
Yes. And it's not, anyways, I did have to chuckle about that. I was like the little like nuance to the craziness is going on. I'm like, people are looking at the sun. That's what we're doing now. Like, we're just going to look at the sun. Okay. Sounds like a good idea.
Yes.
Oh man. But Durran, we just had an incredible episode just drop. I love the conversation and there's so many takeaways. I was at the very end of it there. We talked about Jordans, and my amazing editing team did like threw a pair of Jordans, and Brian Ortega was like, man, nice shoes. I was like, well, they do a pretty good job there. So there were so many different takeaways. Let's just start with one of your first takeaways of the show.
Well, I like how we really got deep into empowerment. That is so huge, because when I was listening to it earlier, the part that I thought was really unique was when we talked about not just empowerment when it comes to empowering customers, but empowering both the customers and the employees to create a much, I guess we could call it the empowered experience. And I thought that was really unique, because that show that we did today, or that just aired, that you just released, I felt that it was good enough that even customers could sit there and listen to that conversation and be like, yes, I see where Brooke and Durran are going with this and what they're talking about. And I'm giving a thumbs up to it. So I thought that was really good. Transparency, or, it was a transformative conversation, but it was transparent as well. But I really liked that part. That was really good.
And I loved how you brought up just the different ways to empower them as well. Like it's when we look at everything that we have and we're throwing, and we'll get into like the products and all that, but when you're trying to add, whether it's a new process into place, a new product into place, whatever it may be, you've got to look at your people first and say, one, is it going to help them? But two, are we empowering them? Because this tool might be great. Yeah. However, we're only getting this much out of it because we're not going to empower our people. And when you empower your people, then your customer feels empowered as well. Like we all use the Amazon example. We use the Apple example, and you go into any Apple store and they've got a cash register attached to their hip at all times. Like they can do A to Z. And if for some reason they can't do something, or hey, that's not their expertise, let me go grab Durran over here and Durran will help you. But they ensure that their employees are 100% empowered. And I wish more and more that not just our business, other businesses would do that as well. It makes the customer experience so much better.
It really does. And Brooke, what I would add to it that I've seen that's been really successful just since we had that conversation was it's important that leaders buy into this empowerment and innovation first. Because there's a client that did a really good job here a few months ago in just taking off with video content and helping their team scale using tech. But the GM did something that was powerful that I've not had many stores do. He was like, Durran, when you're teaching us how to use these tools that are going to help create a better experience, do me a favor and don't talk to the salespeople anymore. I said, all right, what's up? He's like, don't talk to the salespeople anymore until the sales managers have it dialed down. So I want you to reverse your program and don't focus so much on making sure that the online team and the salespeople have this tech stuff down, the digital retailing and using the video platform. I want you to get these leaders so bought in that they can teach it to the sales team and BDC, but they use it first. And of course, what happened? Boom, they take off and it explodes. So just adding another layer to what we're talking about, you're right. Everyone has to buy in, but it needs to really start with leadership. So then that way, when there's that noise that people say, hey, I don't like this tool, it's garbage, at least the leadership team knows how to say, no, here's how I'm using this thing right now to help us make more money. So I just wanted to add that part in because it's super important to make sure that everyone is bought in from the leadership down.
And it will never succeed if you do not have buy-in from the top, like plain and simple. And when I say from the top, I want to take this two ways. One, Brian Kramer, I believe it was him. I'm going to get credit to him. I'm pretty sure he said it. He's like, burn the ships in the harbor. And what that means that while that sounds like drastic, it's, to me, I'm like, that's actually perfect, because once you bring on a new process tool, whatever it may be, that process now is going to change. And this is what's going to be. If you do not burn all those ships in the harbor, someone can go back and be like, well, I want to go back this way. I've seen too many times where maybe the owner, which you think, okay, at the top on down, if the owner is on board with it, great. But if the other manager's not on board with it, it's going to fail. And I've seen tools and processes just get wasted and money lit on fire simply because at top, and even it was the very top of the owner, that wasn't disseminated all the way down, that whether it was a hiring thing, whatever it may be. But those that are in charge of a management position, they really do need to be bought in. And Peter is saying, be an innovator, understand that you're only as powerful as your team. Could not agree more. And you know that Stephen Apicella is coming in here. Here we go, Stephen. I can't wait for this one. Yes. A company's mission, initiative, or innovation doesn't exist unless its value I can't say that word. Emanates, right? I think it emulates clearly through
Companies.
through its employees and truly is felt by its customer. Stephen, you're throwing around some really hard words. I don't know my name at this point. Yesterday, I called the walk and talk facts, not feelings, or front. I don't even know what I called it yesterday. So, anyways, otherwise, the mission, initiative, and innovate it is merely just a concept. And that was a lot of struggle to get through that, especially live. But I think we all got the main message there that Stephen's awesome. We love him to death. But
Yes.
Stephen, I 100% agree. And Stephen, you had said something, it's probably about a year ago now, that I've held on to. Well, a lot of things you said I've held on to. But if we just keep the mission statement to ourselves, that we're hiding it, and then no one else knows what's going on. So going back to a company's mission, initiative, their mission, what innovation they're using, it's all about having that throughout all the employees, and that is passed down to the customers. So Stephen, thank you for that. And thanks for bearing for me as I couldn't get through that comment there. So I appreciate that. The other one, I think, so I talked about the burden of ships in the harbor, and even if an owner is bought in, make sure that to whomever said it to you, Durran, was make sure the manager's involved, because they're at the end of the day, they're the ones that, I won't say enforcing it, but ensuring that process is seamless.
Yeah, because if they don't, all we're going to do is have friction, right? Because if we've got a leadership team that knows about the product, but then we have a sales team that's engaged with that product, and if they run into issues, hiccups, or whatever, who are they going to go to? And if those leaders aren't there to help guide them and say, oh, okay, I saw this happen before when I was using this tool, this is what we need to do. The worst thing is when a leader just says, oh, that tool's garbage. That's why I don't like that thing anyways. Now we're back to, where we just started. Like, we're back in 1980s now, 1990s. We're not using these tools that are all supposed to make the experience easier and more efficient for both the customer and the employee.
Amen. And I've seen as well, like, you bring on a tool and whatever it may be, and you know that you need it. You've done the research, you know you need it. And then the implementation portion, and we talked about as well that, hey, write down that process, know the process. This is the process, blah, 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 is to say, okay, well, the employees don't really like it. And then they're getting the manager now being fed a version of what has actually happened. And when in fact, they're not inspecting to say, oh, in this case, we're talking about video. So it's a video tool, and, oh, I can't do video because X, Y, Z. And then the manager's like, oh yeah, so the product sucks. Well, is it really, or is it because your people don't want to evolve, or they don't understand? Maybe they weren't educated enough. Maybe they just know that we can do whatever the heck we want to do and no one's going to really care about us. We're going to sell cars anyways. What's the true reasoning why they feel that it sucks when you did all this vetting beforehand and you're spending a lot of money for this tool? So is it really that bad? You made a great comment. I'm going to have you expand on it, where you can have two stores that have the same CRM. One is crushing it, the other one's killing it. So I'm going to let you run with that one.
Yeah, no, I love that, because it's funny you said that, because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking it's very similar to basketball with March Madness. It really is. A lot of these teams, it's like you can have two teams that are playing man-to-man. How is it that two teams playing man-to-man, one can beat the snot out of that other team by 50 points? And it's because what that leader and what that coach has taught them about those basics of being on defense, where to go, how to help, make sure we're getting our rebounds, make sure we're blocking out. Well, it's the same thing with our CRM. The very first thing that's going to separate us between us using one CRM and another store is start with the basics. And this is wild, but I know, Brooke, you've seen this and I've seen it. Larry, everybody else on here, we need you to input the proper data first, right? So the first step of the CRM, let's make sure we've got good information going in, number one. And then number two, let's make sure we're prioritizing and organizing that information in the CRM. So if you have one store that's using their CRM just to input data so they can desk deals, because that's what a lot of stores are still doing. They're only putting in the customers in the CRM that we feel we're probably going to sell a car to, versus the other store that like overloads the CRM with everything. I'm talking about just had no name. It says no name, last name, no name, guy with a blue cap. Don't have the customer's information, but he was here looking at a such and such make model. And what's cool about all this is if people are really paying attention to what we're saying, Brooke, there's nothing new that we're talking about under the sun. Because if we go back to many of us listening to this call that are on here, go back 10, 15, 20 years. If you worked at a good store that operated on that massive desk log, because a lot of the stuff that I build it off of what I saw from a leadership desk log and I just digitize it. And so back then, if you touched a customer out there on the lot, that manager who was watching you or the floor manager would write down Durran Cage with the customer, see that. And then if you didn't log that person, when you came in and you didn't put them on there, it was like that white, yellow, and pink sheet. I'm really dating myself here.
I know what you're saying.
Once you wrote the information on there, you took the piece of that, you ripped a page off and you gave it to somebody and you stuck it on the stickler. But if you didn't put that information on that stickler to give to that desk, somebody like a really good floor manager was like, hey, Durran, what happened? You were just out there with that young lady. You didn't get her name or her number information? Oh, no, I didn't. They'll tell you, like they'll coach you and be like, now this is the last time that this is going to happen. But so fast forward now to where we're at today, we need to take that same intention with our CRM from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah.
The leaders need to be looking at their desk log, their online leads, their phone ups, their walk-ins, the same way. Hey, what happened to that internet customer? I noticed that they just came in and they did a digital retailing and they said that they wanted to buy a vehicle, put money down, and they're looking between lease and retail, right? What happened on that conversation? And if they want to get really dialed in, this is what gets wild, is you can use tools that are recording or either listening to that conversation in real time so that leader can actually be present during that call when they couldn't do that on the lot back then. On the lot, when you were out there, you were on your own unless you had somebody next to you. But now with the tools that we have using AI, software, and so much, the leaders can be ever present as the sales team is doing their internet, their phone, not so much the walk-in, but that's the difference. Like when a team looks at that CRM and says on a whiteboard, what is everything that we can do with our CRM that's going to separate us from everyone else and give us an advantage? That's when the magic is made within the CRM. So I didn't mean to go off on a tangent too much, but when you talk to me about CRM, I get all geeked. I lived it and you lived it as well.
Oh man, there's so much to unpack with what you said there. Before we go, I just want to real quickly, Russell, thank you for being a part of the show. I so appreciate your support, buddy.
Oh,
and
Russell,
we were just talking, Russell, about how crazy the weeks have been. So totally get you on that one. And we feel the same about you, bud. You're amazing as well. And you had mentioned a couple different things there. And I'm like trying to mental note everything around it. I remember working for a CRM company, and this is like 2002, probably 2010. And they came out with this feature of the red hat guy. And you're able to say, Russell, I have a good question. Am I the one? I believe lately it's like, unless I ask for comments, people are like slowing the comments down. So to Russell's question here, what the hell? Am I the one on here today? So if you're on here, tell us you use those pink slips and the white slips. Let us throw in an emoji. Let us know you're here. Joshua, thanks for coming to the rescue here. He's talking about meetings while in the car. Amazing. And he's taking meetings. That's Russell for you. That is Russell.
It is.
Oh, goodness. All right. So yeah, throw emoji in there. Let me know that you're here. And also like going back, we talked about like a couple different things, even in the podcast about dating ourselves a little bit. And it's because I'm like, Russell, we'll take any time, buddy. Is like, we were talking about the Rolodexes. We're talking about the pink and white sheets. Like, so if you've used any of these, let us know what if you're like, oh, so like also when I came into the industry, I didn't know what a CRM was. That was so foreign to me. And now obviously it's commonplace. I get it. But it was like, man, could you imagine what it would have been like if we would have had this technology at our fingertips when we were in the car, like when we started in the car industry? This has been amazing. and to your point is going out and talking to someone and not getting information. I will supplement that with also when you're bringing on tools and processes, is it going to be a service that pushes over everything, even if it's not legit? And what I mean by that, let's take a chat provider, because there's all different types of chat providers out there. But maybe your chat provider, I'm not going to say it's gatekeeping, but it's going to ensure that only quality information is being pushed into your CRM. So if there's no name, there's no phone number, and it just says John, do you really want that in your system? Because I don't really know that John's a real person. So looking to say what works best, and that maybe for your process that works great, but understand how the services work. So when that information comes in, because we all know it's garbage in, garbage out, and our CRMs are a hot mess. So that's by and large, they're a hot mess. You had talked about a really cool example of empowering your BDC, and I'm gonna let you go with that one. And I want to tee this up that when you look at the CRM, unless we change our pay plans in-house, the CRM garbage in is not going to change, because BDCs are getting paid on appointments. The salespeople don't want to look it up because they don't want to share it with the BDC. So you had talked a little bit about how to empower the BDC and changing some of that.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad we're talking about this again, because it will forever be important until we all get on the same page with compensation driving behavior the way that it is right now. So what we're talking about is let's go down this path of a story. Okay, there's a customer that's going online right now. This is probably happening in real time. Somebody's on a dealership's website that's either listening to this or they're not listening to it, but whatever. They're going to pick out a car. And on that VDP, on that landing page, they're looking at a vehicle and it's going to say, payments made easy, save time, start here. There's going to be some kind of buzzword that's talking about how easy it is to get the information that you want. That customer is going to spend time desking their deal. And now there might be a little bit of confusion, because aside of the 19 buttons that sometimes are on the VDP page, they're now confused. Like, wait, I got to trade. And now I'm trying to figure out, should I lease or retail? Now this is an electric vehicle. I'm seeing that there's a tax incentive. Do I qualify? So they go ahead and put their information in. That request comes into the BDC rep, and they see it, and they see that this customer now is looking at an EV, let's use it for example, or a hybrid, and now they're wanting to know a little bit more information about the tax incentive. They want to know, is this a better option for me to retail or lease based on my information? Rep rings out to them, and they connect with that customer, or it's via text. And right after we get that intro, thank you for putting in your information. What time can you come in so we can finish this thing up? And it's like, what just happened? And the customer's like, well, wait, did you see my note? I'm a little concerned about my financing options, and I'd like to know that. Yes, and you can find all that out once you show up inside. And we're not even, and it's because if the BDC's rep, their number one goal is to get them in because they're getting paid $10, $15, $20, $25, and there has nothing that's tied to the actual experience or the behaviors that drive customers in, because there's actual behaviors that we could actually compensate our BDC team that will allow them to make more money and allow the dealership to make more money by aligning the compensation with what the customers are trying to do. Because yes, we still do want to get them in, but that's after we find out that's what the customer wants to do. What if the customer's in New Mexico? A lot of times I do mystery shops, and I'm down here in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'll do a shop where somebody's in Texas or Atlanta, and literally they don't even look at my zip code. Or they're like, what time can you come in, Mr. Cage? Bro, I can't be there this afternoon.
You're like, let me get on my private jet here. 1 second. I'll be there in 2 seconds.
I can't even get a direct flight out of Memphis, Tennessee to go somewhere. Come on, Memphis. But anyways, but back to what we're talking about. When we align the compensation and make sure that we're being right, because even if you look at a corporation, like successful ones, most of them, the way that their compensation is it isn't nit-knacking on every single transaction. It's based on an overall performance, and then it's a percentage of overcoming that. And then they pay you in advance. So it's almost like, I'm going to pay you, Brooke, because you're going to do this. You're going to do videos. You're going to do this, this, this. And then if you exceed the numbers of this, you're going to get an extra percentage. That's how it should work. It shouldn't be every single customer, it's tit for tat that they got to do this. They've got to come in. And that's what creates disruption in our industry, because our pay plans are not aligned with salespeople, leadership, and internet teams. A lot of times it's conflicted, and we're not even going to get into finance. But when you look at all these different comp plans, if we don't get that in line with what we're trying to drive from a consumer behavior, we will continue 5 years from now. Me and you will be talking on this thing like, Durran, we're still here. It's like, we've got to fix the behaviors. So, yeah.
I 100% agree. I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were talking about just conferences in general, and we were mapping out this year, blah, blah, 2024. And we were joking that certain conferences, all they do is just repeat the same. He's like, they've been saying the same thing for 15 years, and yet it's still a problem. But it really is. I mean, I would love to, in 10 years from now, to look back and say, oh, yay, we actually aren't talking about this anymore, but we talk about the same thing so often. And it even like when I do these shows, it's like trying to pull out, you'll have a theme of, like we had a while there where it's a lot about leadership. And it's like, okay, how do you take that in a different way? Because we're talking about the same thing. Obviously, it's very, very important, but taking it in a little different direction. And now, there's obviously buzzwords out there, which I probably should have this filled with vodka and not water, but I do have water in that. And every time you hear them, you're like, oh, but why are we saying these? And are we going to be talking about this in 10 years? Is it just the newest thing? So Peter is saying, you mean Memphis isn't a major hub given its home of Cage? Right? Seriously. I would agree with that one.
It's the home of FedEx. But that's it. I'm going to fix it. But thank you, though, Peter. He's such a great guy. He had a great call last night, too. He had an awesome show last night. So this is I feel like this is a continuation of the show that he had last night. So this is really good.
Oh, I love it. I was unable to make the one last night, but yeah, it's. I think Memphis. First thing I think is of Memphis Tigers, but I think that's because the sports in me. Are you a Tigers fan, by the way?
Not really. The wife is. She went to that school. I'm still more of a Lobos. Go Lobos, and then shamefully Ohio State Buckeyes, because that's where I was when I was a kid. We won't talk about that. People get a little upset when I even mention the word Buckeyes. They're like,
Well, it's like I've lived in about every single state, and then I lived in Japan for a year, so I've lived everywhere. So my sports teams are very all over the map. Yes. My mom was a Yankees fan, so I've been a Yankees fan since birth. I was a Bulls fan. I was born in Idaho, and I was a Bulls fan, but that's been same thing. I have photos of me 4 years of age, like decked out in Michael Jordan gear. So yes. I have been that forever. And then but those are two teams when people hear it, they're like, oh, especially the Yankees, like, oh, you're a Yankee fan. I'm like, well, not a bandwagon. We did have some bad years there, not a lot, but we did have, how about Elvis? There you go. Elvis. Good point, Larry.
There we go. Oh, of course, Elvis would know. We got Graceland. Come on over here, Larry. It's about time. You can come visit Graceland. We can go over there together. I've only been there one time, and it was
really. I've never been there. How was it? Good.
It's beautiful. You get to go through the house. You get to see the plane. What I enjoyed the most about the Elvis story being there was that he was a party machine. So he was throwing parties, but they would show at his house the backyard. You go farther back, you can see where the neighbors were, and he would literally just tell his neighbors to come on over to party. Like, yeah, you guys just come on over. And I thought that was cool because I don't know if people today operate that way. Like, I don't see a rock star leader looking at his backyard like, hey, you guys, come on over. Come kick it and hang out. So I've always liked that part about Elvis. Pretty cool.
I knew he threw a lot of parties, but I didn't know that it was like, hey, you just come on over. And there's, I don't know if we'll have anyone like him, and did do as an artist. The records he broke is just crazy. And so I'll say the greatest of all time, and be like, hey, come on over. Here's have a beer or whatever it may be. Like that's yeah. And apparently we've got Peter saying he is OSU all the way. So you do.
Hey, there we go. We got a Buckeye. I don't even have. I normally a secret about me that nobody knows, so I'll unveil it on this show. It's because I switched pants. But I always have a Buckeye in my pocket. It's the craziest thing. So even when I was selling cars, I would always keep a Buckeye in each one. So I have hundreds of Buckeyes in my house, like in this little folder, and I keep them with me. So when I go speak, I always have a Buckeye in my pocket because if I get nervous, you can rub on a Buckeye. So if anybody's ever felt one, but they're the smoothest, coolest thing in the world. And so if I get nervous, I put my hand in my pocket, rub on. I'm like, okay, we're good. OH, Peter. Silly.
And Eric, I just spelled your name wrong. Sorry about that, buddy. It's going to come through here in a second. But Eric is saying two great leaders, and Eric, thank you. That I just get to be in the presence of Durran. Durran, aren't you speaking at Osoto? On top of speaking.
Yes, I am. I'll be speaking. I forget. Paul would hurt me if I didn't. I'm not sure exactly the topic. I'll be there the 15th speaking there, But yeah, excited for that because SoduCon, such a great event. The first one felt like it was such a good vendor community one, but then the dealers actually felt like, because I would be talking to a few dealers and I thought they were a vendor, and I'm like, so what company are you with? He's like, oh, I've got 3 dealerships. I'm like, oh, because everybody was communicating in a way that I've never seen before. So I'm really excited for SoduCon next month because it really is a different experience, unlike any other event that I get to go to.
I have struck. Yeah, I literally just made up Brookish words right there. I've struck out twice, and I promise it is water in this thing. I promise it's water in this thing. The first time ended having a emergency situation, medical emergency, and I couldn't make it. And the second time I happened to be triple booked the same week at the same time. And this week, this one's so I'm on strike 3. of it. But I'm like, at some point we'll make it happen. But it has just been,
Yeah.
I go, man, I don't know what my luck is with that show, but I do not well. Eric is saying we need to add you both to speak at the Speaker Hearts someday. Sure. Count us in.
Game. Yes.
Whatever. As Durran saying, I'm game, Eric. Let's do it. Yeah, buddy. One thing, we've talked a lot of different things. First off, the Buckeye thing, love that. Like that's gonna stick in my head forever now.
Everybody's gonna be coming up to me now, touching in my pockets. Where's it at, man? I'm like, hey, you can't put your hand in my pockets.
At least it's not in your shoe, so that's good. You know, we'll go with that one.
That's right.
The other thing we talked about. Hold up, we got Larry coming in here. I got to see it. Send her a Buckeye direct.
I sure can. I'm telling you, I've got hundreds, probably thousands. It drives my family nuts. But yeah.
Do you have Buckeyes in Memphis as well? Like
I
Buckeye
don't
trees?
think there's I need to plant a Buckeye tree in order to do that. But I'm pretty sure there's none around here.
So do you get them at the store or are you ordering them online? I'm very intrigued with this.
Oh yeah. No, I order them online. So I'll find some farmers or somebody up north, and then you can get some people on Google or on Amazon, and they'll ship them down there to you. Some fresh Buckeyes.
I saw, and I wish I could remember who did the clip on this, but it was hilarious. They're like, you had everyone around like, all right, we're going to pick mascot names. Have you seen this or not? I'm going to pick mascot names. And it goes to the Wolverines first. So it's like, all right, we're Michigan, Wolverines. That's me, Wolverines. All right, Buckeye, or Ohio State, over to you. We're going to be a Buckeye, and we're going to name him Brutus. I was like,
yes.
Where the hell did they, like, of all the things, you got a Wolverine, and then you got a Buckeye. Like, that's what you decided to choose?
Yeah, Wolverines have done a good job. We're not going to talk about them. You know, I've got a
source
very close friend of mine who's a big Michigan fan, and so it was always fun throughout college that, you know, the bets that we put on each other if you lost was terrible. So that's a topic for off the show, but yeah.
And it is like, obviously, you know, I'm a sports nerd is my binky, so I live and breathe it. But yeah, it used to be a little bit more competitive than it is now. But you know, we'll see with Harbaugh gone. Let's see what happens here. Eric is saying the funny thing, Durran, about Buckeyes in your pocket. I actually have the small little glass duck that I keep in my pocket and give one out each day to someone who inspires me and the world. It's the lucky duck.
Dude, can I borrow that, Eric? Like literally, I can start doing 4 Buckeyes in each pocket, and if I find somebody I like and love, I'm like, you know what? Here's the Buckeye for you. I'll be like Oprah. The next sales meeting I'm gonna do, you get a Buckeye. Oh my God, Eric, I'm giving you all the kudos to that one, because I will start doing that. That will give something, because Larry knows this. You know, speaking of somebody that's an excellent trainer. Yes. When you're teaching people today in such a distracted world, you have to keep attention. It is hard. So you got to jump all over the place. So I think the Buckeye one now, you know, when I ask questions in the crowd, they get it right. I'll throw it to them. Hey, you might know 10 years from now, we might see a couple million people out here with just Buckeyes in their pockets everywhere. You know,
it's like a chipmunk just full, their pockets are full. Like, what the hell's going on here?
So all these Buckeyes.
Eric is saying to DM him, and he'll send you some lucky duckies. We got Peter saying no such thing as Go Blue. It seriously changed people's life. Eric, that's freaking awesome. Like, and that took a lot for me to say freaking right there. No dramas, serve others. And oh man. You know what, Eric, we could just plaster that across everywhere right now, because there's been a lot, like, and I'm not a drama person, but my goodness, I had actually was texting back and forth with a friend today, and I just go, you never argue with an idiot, because they'll dumb you down and beat you by experience. And it's just been one of those things where, like, whatever is in the atmosphere right now, people are wanting to start drama. It's like, that's just not me. Like, you want to go start it with yourself. I'm good with that. Durran's coming with love it. We've got Peter saying a buck for luck. Man, is gonna. Peter, I like that. You're gonna be careful how you say that, though, because that could turn out real poorly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's $1. Or we can get into the animal rights activists. A buck, you know. So yeah.
Between lucky ducky and buck for luck, it's just a matter of time before Brooke slips and says a Brooke word at that point. So
I like that.
We've also got Let's Do It. No drama. I think it was no drama. I can go back here. No drama, serve others. We've also got him saying, I literally give out dog tags with a slogan and pass them out in audiences. I freaking love that. Wolverines and ducks. Your show has become Wild Kingdom.
Leave it to Larry.
Larry, you know what? At this point, we're just here to have some fun. So there was an episode. It had a lot of good content. It's Friday. The show's off the rails. That's what happens here.
That's right. It's Friday,
It's
and we're
Friday.
live.
Yes, we are. So I will wrap this up. Is that one thing we also talked about that is near and dear to my heart was the AI portion. And it's not just AI, it's the humanization of AI. And that is such a vital piece of it. When I was doing the walk and talk yesterday, right before I went on, I was figuring, and I had it happen today too. I said the same 4 prompts to ChatGPT. I was like, where are you getting this information? And I was like, okay, part of it is, a lot of it actually is going to be the prompt that I give ChatGPT. But that being said, I'm like, I do the same prompt for the same thing. So if you're not checking that, if the minute you can take the AI and humanize it, man, the ROI on that is exponential. It's going back to the video portion. I mean, it's the same thing as personalizing. Instead of having a canned template, you now have a personalized video response. Well, same thing with AI. AI is great. If you've been using it this far, you can pretty much scout out real quickly who's using AI when the message comes to you or the email comes to you. It's so big. So having that edge up on the competition that, hey, I'm using this, but I'm not forgetting the human aspect of it.
Yeah, and I was just hearing you say humanization. I'm like, dude, can you spell that word without using AI? No, but
It's like necessary.
I'm gonna lead into it real quick because there was actually a young gentleman, and if he's watching this, oh well, because it was transparent. There's other people around, but he tells me, I asked him, I said, do you utilize AI and how do you use it? Because I always want to know, how do you use that thing? And he said, I detest AI. I think it's the end of the world kind of. And he goes through this whole thing. And I'm like, well, do you do all the math by hand when you do your math? And he's like, no. I said, well, what do you use? A calculator. I said, there you go. I said, that's AI. I said, what you want to do is figure out what math problems can you do here? What math problems can you easily do here? But then what math problems might make more sense for me to bust this little calculator out and use it to save me time? That's the whole goal of AI. It was never meant to replace us. It was only meant to enhance us where we need that done. And so I got him to think of it that way. And he's like, I get it. Because the future of AI, in my opinion, is going to be much more employee facing with leadership using that AI to help them become better coaches, employees to better coach themselves, to understand their data. Like, that's a good way to use AI. Like, hey, looking at where I'm trending right now, what do you see that I could do better of? Oh, Durran, it's showing you should do more videos and do this. That's AI. But using it to just reach out to all your customers all the time might not be the best way, unless that customer is maybe either long-term follow-up or they're not as engaged. But if it's an engaged customer that you're in the middle of conversations with, I'm probably not going to just throw an AI bot on that thing, because it goes back to that empowerment, that digital retailing experience we went through. That's the human that we want. But the AI needs to be more for the other things that we don't have time to really get to, that are more lower marginal items that need to get done. So using AI in a way that can help us create either a better subject line, to help us come up with a better equity mining template that we want to use. But then we add that human element inside of it. So imagine you use AI to help you come up with a couple email templates, but then you humanize it with using, maybe it's a Google review and a picture of you and that customer, right? So now you've got the human element, you've got this credibility, and then you ask AI to help sharpen that message up that you have. That is a whole cool experience that you have without you. Before AI, what you would do is you would either send it and you might have some grammatical errors or mess that whole thing up, or you went to somebody else and said, hey, can you reread this and make sure I did okay? But for myself, even in my business, AI has been so great to help me run it efficiently, not for it to run my business with customers. And so they're disconnected to Durran, they're connecting with an AI bot. And so when everybody finds that balance that works for them, to use that tool to help them work faster, quicker, more efficient, and that it's used to help them create a better experience for their customers, that's where the power is. Because if I'm a coach listening to this, if I'm a sales manager, I'm using AI like crazy to help me better manage my team with reports and analytics and data and all that stuff that would take me hours to do before. Now you should be able to, with AI, get that thing done in minutes.
Amen. And when we think of AI, like you said, there is a lot of fear mongering. Some of it's legitimate. I get that.
Yeah.
That being said, is to understand, is AI is going to replace people that do not use AI. That's what it's going to do. And I've said this, I'm pretty sure I stole this from Gary Vee, and I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, is that when tractors came out, everyone thought that the farmers thought tractors were going to replace them. They did not replace them. They made them more efficient in what they're doing. Now, there's obviously a lot of people that are going to do nefarious things with AI. I get that. And yes, there is some other things down the pike that there is some concern, but overall, when it comes to working, I would have to hire an entire team without AI. I'm going to go up a couple of things that were thrown in here just a bit ago while you're talking here. Peter, with the whole Buckeye thing, just said it's nuts. And we've got Eric saying, I used to learn from the OGs in the auto speaking world, like Joe Verde and Joe Girard, of some of the other greats back in the day. And he goes, pro tip in regard to AI, I use Opus Pro along with AI generator for video splits, etc. Personalize my voice and for my material and content. Opus is awesome. It's a great tool. We've got apparently haven't gotten it to yet. Robbie, yes. Robbie, only way I know how to do is keep it real and most likely unscripted. If it's the recorded show, there's semi-scripted, but we don't do a lot of I don't know how anything else except myself. Eric is back here saying, is the real Durran or is it AI Durran? It might be Denzel Washington. We're not sure, actually. It could be one of the two. Or, maybe
that would be cool. Training day, right?
We've got coming in here speaker. It's our speaker, Eric. Eric, your first name's not speaker. Let's go. Eric here. Eric, I feel the same way. Thanks so much, buddy. Appreciate it. We've got Eric saying, amen. I'm sure it was the AI. Amen. Great point. That's like when McDonald's came out with fries. They didn't replace the burgers, just enhanced it. I was going to say something about the McFlurry machine, but McFlurry machine needs AI because that thing is always broken. And we've got Jeff. Jeff, use AI to wish Jeff. I haven't seen you in a bit, buddy. It's your birthday every day. Like, I don't know anybody else has a birthday every day, but AI will definitely wish you happy birthday. And Durran is confirming, everyone. It is the real Durran. It's not AI Durran. It's just
here.
And that's something that for me is so big when obviously AI is such a. Brian, welcome into the show, buddy. We miss you. We're glad you're here. I sent you a Facebook link earlier. I saw a hilarious Toyota meme and thought of you, so I sent it your way. And I would agree that Durran is the best, 100%. Yeah. And Eric is saying we need to use AI to actually throw birthday parties by themselves. For the birthday parties, we don't want to be a part of either. Like, I don't want to know if I want to go to this or not. And Durran, I don't know about that. I don't. Maybe I can beg to differ on that one.
Got to keep it real.
You got to keep it real. Is there? You already used it? Did you use it today, or is that like an old one? I just hadn't seen it, or did someone steal it from you, Brian? And I wish that I had the meme up here, but it's got. For those who don't know, it's got Hulk Hogan and he's got two mustaches and it's got I think it's the Tacoma, and the Tacoma has like two bars on the grill. It was pretty funny. So we used it. I don't know. Brian, I'm going to give you a credit that they stole it from you. This is not Eric. I'm glad you stumbled onto it as well, buddy. It's good to have you in here. Is there anything else we've missed for today? Like recapping the show and the chaos that's ensuing on the show right now?
No, I mean, it's again, Brooke, thank you so much for the show. I mean, it was a great conversation. It's going to be interesting to see how that conversation evolves over time. Like I meant what I said earlier, this will be one of those shows that I look forward to looking back 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 2 years from now, because one thing about you, Brooke, and the people that are commenting that are on here, one thing that we all have in common is like, we're all here to serve and make this industry better. And that's something that I don't know we could have said 10 years ago because it was such a competitive space. But the fact that I can be talking to a Larry Feldman or I can be talking to a Sean Armour, who both are trainers and consultants in their own space, the fact that we can talk and I can talk to you about data, marketing, and I think that's what's really unique here. And I love that we're all able to communicate, talk together, because at the end of the day, if we're all making this industry better, dealerships are better, salespeople are better, we're all working and we're listening to the dealers and growing ourselves. That's what it's all about, to set up for whatever the next evolution of automotive is. We can all say that we played a good part in it. So this has been great. And I thank you so much, Brooke.
You are so welcome. And Eric, we will all chat offline, buddy. Thanks for being a part of this. I super appreciate it. And it is like, I was talking to a company this week, a friend who they have, that's his company. And we were just saying how when you have a good partner, and there's the whole thing with vendors and partners, that's a whole other thing for itself by itself. But when you have that true partner, it doesn't matter what field they are. It doesn't matter if they're SEO, SEM, video, they're a third party tool, whatever it may be. When you can have that partner that works with the other partners, that right there is gold. And having that ability to say, it doesn't matter that you're a competitor of mine, doesn't matter that I have nothing to do with you. We both serve the client. The client is the dealer. And as a dealership, when you're vetting people, same thing. Are you going to be with people that will work and play in the same sandbox together? Because that is when companies don't, and they bash other people, that's when you run into a problem, because your ROI is going to plummet, because you have adversary forces going at each other here. And gold, baby, gold. Eric, good to see you, buddy. And I love this no drama, serve others, Eric. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. So yeah, I couldn't agree more on that at all. And so just thank you for that, Durran. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show. Always a pleasure getting to talk with you and having this platform where people can learn. And I just appreciate all your knowledge you dropped today. Really, really appreciate it.
Likewise. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you all. Eric, awesome. I look forward to meeting you, and everyone else, Peter, Larry, Brian, everybody that was on here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I appreciate, as always, everyone being a part of this. It's I know you have a choice to view content wherever you want to view content. I appreciate each and every one of you, even those that are listening in the background and maybe can't bring him back. 4 more years for Durran. 4 more years for Durran. Gotcha.
Oh my gosh, love Brian. You guys are awesome. Peter, Paul, and Mary. Wow.
I can't, Josh. I don't know. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this right now, Josh. But it's some Shakuri.
What's up, Josh? It says Shakurio Cage.
There's obviously an inside joke there that of which I am unaware.
I don't know, but I love Josh too. He's great.
Like I said, and I always tell the guests when they come on the show, I go, on the Friday show, I'm hoping it will be the most mindless thing you do all week. Like, there's no prep for this. It's just whatever happens, happens. And sometimes it goes, well, more than times than not, it goes off the rails pretty quickly. So once again, everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this. Durran, thanks for being on the show. And everyone, you all know the drill at this point. Find a way to serve today. Find a way to help someone else. I don't care if it is opening a car door, if it is a kind smile. Just do something to be the joy in somebody else's life and make their day just a little bit better. And that, everyone, we will be back next week, and we'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.